It's Tuesday, September 19th. Much prettier out here in Anza today than it was yesterday. Yesterday was real overcast, a lot of clouds, really blue sky today. Still brisk, it's kind of cold outside. This morning I was in Gospel of John 16 through 18, chapter 16 through 18. And the verse I wanted to share on is chapter 16, verse 33. 16, 33. In me, Jesus is here speaking to his to the apostles. In me, you may have peace. In the world, you will have tribulation, but take heart. I have overcome the world. In me, you may have peace. In the world, you will have tribulation, but take heart. I have overcome the world. I want us to notice the language here. He promises, he says, in the world, you will have tribulation. Believers or non-believers, in the world, you will have tribulation. The world has lots and lots of problems. So as we live in this world, you can't escape it. People try to. They get busy doing things. They try not to forget about what's going on. Some people get high. Some people get drunk. Some people just, get involved in things so they don't have to think. But it's a promise from Jesus. He says, in the world, you will have tribulation. The world will never be free of tribulation. But he says, in me, you may have peace. He's saying that if you want to be in him, you can have peace. Everybody won't have it because not everybody will rest in him. Even those of us that are believers, we have times in our life where I am in him, and there's times in my life when I am not in him. He's always in me. He never leaves me, never forsakes me. But there are times when I walk in the Spirit, and there are times when I am not walking in the Spirit. So, to someone who has never experienced the presence and the peace of God in their life, this sounds like a contradiction. Because we can't escape the world. We're here. We're part of it. There's tribulation. Just because I trust Jesus does not mean that I escape problems. It doesn't mean that I'm not surrounded by people who have problems. It doesn't mean those that live in an area where there's a lot of violence, the violence does not go away because they're trusting Jesus. The prices of food and cars and homes do not get lower because I trust in Jesus. War does not disappear because I trust in Jesus. People around me do not quit arguing because I trust in Jesus. When I'm not in him, I become part of that. When I am not in him, walking in the Spirit, I say things I shouldn't say. I think plenty of thoughts I should not think. I get angry about stuff, about what's going on. When I'm in him, when I'm in Jesus, when I'm walking in the Spirit, I have a peace on the inside. I'm surrounded by tribulation. That's a promise from Jesus. I'm surrounded by a world that's in chaos. Many times I am surrounded by people who only want to argue, people who are not interested in peace. But if I am in him at that moment, my outside experiences it, but on the inside where he lives, on the inside where he dwells, where I can dwell, I'm at peace. That's a promise from Jesus. We may have peace if we come to him. The promise also, but in the world, on the outside, you'll always have tribulation. When we're with him, there's a protection in our spirit. There's a protection in our mind. He keeps us. He fellowships with us. We have a peace. And when I step out of that, when I am not in him, I become as confusing as everyone that's on the outside. I can become as angry as anybody else. I can be in as much chaos as anybody else. But Jesus' promise to his children is abide in me, live in me, be filled with the Spirit, that we might have peace in this world that's in tribulation, and will always be in tribulation until the day he comes back. Then he says, notice he says, to take heart. In other words, to have that peace, to be in him. I take my heart and give it to him. I take my passions and give it to him. I take my desires and give them to him. I take who I am, my heart, because he owns it. He died on the cross to possess it. I've given it to him. When I take it back, I live in tribulation like the rest of the world. When I give it to him, I walk in his peace. This can happen several times in a day. I can walk in and out of it. It's up to me. When I walk out of it, I'm aware of it. I don't always come back quick. I don't always repent. I don't always call out to him. And the longer I don't, the more chaos it is, the more tribulation is in my heart. But when I walk in him, the worst of the worst can be going on around me. And I am secure and at peace in him. That's my prayer, is today that we would learn more and more to just stay in him. He said to remain in him, to dwell in him, that we might receive his life, that we might be at peace on the inside, that we might experience the life of Jesus living in us. Thanks for listening to me today.